Hiya, so today we are going to be making paper pulp. Please excuse the state, I've been baking for the last 4 hours and I'm kind of frazzled. That's why I'm late today. We're going to make paper pulp. Now paper pulp is, I've always used it in schools as an inexpensive way of doing sculptures because clay sometimes isn't all that accessible. If you haven't got a kiln, you can't fire it. And to be honest with you, clay with young children, it's so easily breakable once it's dried out that it just becomes a bit of a nightmare. Whereas this, once it's dried, rock solid, brilliant stuff. So what you're going to need is newspapers or egg boxes. Now I say those two because they're really, really absorbent, so they will suck up all of the water. And all you need to do is you need to soak them in water. My egg boxes were yellow, hence why the water is yellow. Soak them in water just overnight, and it just softens them, and they will take up some of the water. And then you're going to need a food processor. I have tried it in a blender. It does work in a blender. You just need to be really careful because you will damage it. So I am moving you over to my food processor and I'm going to make sure you can see what I'm doing. Now all I have done is I have put, see, I'm sitting on a chair so that you can see both me. I've put my soggy egg boxes in the food processor, and all I'm going to do is add some more of the water that I've soaked in, purely simply to save water. You can put fresh water in if you want, and pop it in. Now, you're then going to turn it on and blend it until it becomes a soggy pulp. Now, so you don't have to listen to the noise, I am going to pause this and I will be back in just a second. Okay, and it will be all blended. Okay, so we're back. As you can see, I've pulped it. It's taken, what, about 2-3 minutes in the machine. And then I'm just going to show you how it will come out. Please excuse the state of the machine. This is my art one. So you end up with this. So as I say, our egg boxes were yellow, which is why we've ended up with a yellow pulp. Obviously, if you do it with newspaper, it comes out as more of a stone colour, which is quite a nice way to work, actually. If you use blue egg boxes, you get blue, da 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 da. So all I've done is I've lined a bowl. You can do it over the sink if you want to, but I've lined a bowl just with a piece of old cotton. This could be an old piece of bedding. It doesn't have to be white. I just happen to have loads of white cotton around at the house. It could be, say, a piece of old bedding. It could be a piece of old netting, even net curtain. An old shirt, anything really. And what it is we need something that's going to allow the liquid to pass through. So essentially it's just a posh sieve. You can use a sieve, but sometimes because the paper pulp's quite thin, it will slip through the holes, so it will end up in your sink. So I'm just going to pour all of that into there, gather up my corners, and then I gently start to squeeze all of the liquid out. Oh, that bracelet's really annoying. Okay, so we get rid of that water, and you end up with a fairly dry pulp. Now you can work with that as it is, but for younger children it can be a bit more difficult because it doesn't really stick together as well. So let me tuck that in so I'm not clattering as much. We're going to add some PVA. Now this makes it super duper strong, super duper flexible and easier to work with. So, just because for the interest of time, and this is a job that I have in the past found my kids that I work with love this bit here. And you just get your hands in and you're going to break down that lump that you've just made and mix it through thoroughly so that almost every piece of paper that's in there, or card or whatever you want to call it, is absolutely covered in PVA glue. And it almost turns into a kind of a paste. It's very therapeutic. If you're a sensory person, it is amazing. If you don't like getting it under your fingernails, wear gloves, because it gets everywhere. And that, once it's thoroughly mixed in, can be moulded around just about anything. So you can, it's really nice if you can line a bowl with just greaseproof cling film or even just a plastic bag, and then you can line the bowl and make yourself a really nice paper bowl you can then paint. Essentially it's just a posh paper mache, but it's a lot more flexible. So what you can also do is, as I say, you can mould it around anything. So we've moulded it around balloons in the past to make Christmas decorations. I know we've only just had Easter, but so I'm just trying to wash it off my hands so I don't end up doing everything in the kitchen with it. So this is eventually going to be a Santa Claus. Use your imagination. So we've used a balloon for his body and then moulded the arms just with lumps of it, really. And then the head, again, is just a large lump. The thicker it is, the longer it takes to dry. I believe this one took about a week to dry, but that's because the head and the hat, so here's his beard, here's his face, and this is his hat, just in case you can't see it. It's a bit like finding pictures in clouds, isn't it? So yeah, this took about a week because these bits were quite thick, whereas this bit here was actually dry within 2 or 3 days, if that. And in this weather, if you can put it on a windowsill to dry, it will dry out really, really quickly. So that's paper pulp. As I say, really nice, really versatile. Make bowls, make plates. I've done before, I got the children in a school on a piece of plastic to make a clock shape, but a funny wiggly clock. We were studying Salvador Dali, and they did a wiggly clock, and then we draped it over a bowl so that it looked like it was falling down. Like the Dali painting, and then we painted them afterwards, and that went down really, really well. The kids loved it. So as I say, it's messy, but it's fun, and it's really, really resilient. So it doesn't break. Good job that experiment worked. It doesn't break really. It takes such a hammering, which is wonderful. What I have done in the past as well is I've done Greek vases. So if you're studying the Greeks or the Romans, you can mould it around a balloon and then mould the neck up. Make a little plinth for it to stand on as well if you want to, and then paint it. I think we painted them all orange and then did black outlines, or painted them black and did orange designs on them. But that went down really, really well as well. So that's paper pulp. Tomorrow we are doing just paper and pencil, just more designing and drawing skills really. So I will see you tomorrow.